Hello and welcome back to the Retro Game Club podcast, Season 7, Episode 16, otherwise known as Episode 205. I'm Zach, and with me today is someone else ready to podcast wherever, whenever, and forever. It's Rob.
Hello, it's been a while. We've both been pretty slammed, huh?
Yes, to say the least.
Yeah, this whole having a job and families, it's a bit much.
I know it's getting in the way of podcasting. I have to give,
And
might have to
video
give
game
something up.
playing.
Oh my God. I haven't played at all. I mean, basically every minute that isn't work or taking care of my kids, my mother-in-law, has been like podcast prep, and not even for this one that much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming in and hosting.
Yeah, happy to do it. I always have a good time. So I did manage to sneak up to LA a week ago Thursday to see Nine Inch Nails.
I am epically jealous.
Yeah, that was worth it. It was good. Well, it was supposed to be a day off, first of all, and I was gonna take the train up in the middle of the morning. I did meet a friend for lunch, which was great, but I was harangued by people at work all day because everything's important. But don't fire me if anybody's listening. But the concert itself was good. I worked right up to the last second. We went out I think I just ate at the hotel. Yeah, I just ate at the hotel. I also met some other friends there who were also going to the show.
Oh, you stayed the night? Yeah, that makes sense, I guess, right all the way in LA.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to drive. That's what I did last time in 2019. I drove up there, went for the show, and drove home, and it sucked. And I hate that drive anyway. So I took the train up. Friend picked me up, had lunch. He brought me to the hotel. Other friends met me at the hotel. They drove me to the show and back, and they drove me to the train station the next morning.
Cool. What were the highlights?
Well, it was really weird. The opening act was this DJ, and that's not usually my thing, but I was kind of liking it. It was pretty good, and it went right up to the start time, and like he just did this big whatever they like the drop or whatever they call it. I don't know. I'm not hip. I'm not with it with the lingo. But when he did that, there was like a little center stage in the middle of the crowd, and the curtains just dropped from that. And then Trent was out there with the piano, and he did like kind of like a 4-song melody. It started as just him on the piano. It was kind of mellow, and they kind of built it up as they went. And then they moved to the main stage, did a bunch of stuff. It was all a great performance. Probably the best. What I really liked about it was they played. What's the I want to say I want a new drug, but that's Huey Lewis.
Oh,
the perfect drug. They played
yeah.
Perfect Drug, which I normally don't hear that often. And then they played I'm Afraid of Americans, which I don't know if I'd heard them play live before. I mean, I know that they've done it, but I personally have not.
I saw him with Bowie. Cool. I saw them do it together, which was amazing.
I'm jealous of.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I would like to see him do it by himself too. I mean, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been decades since he's done that song.
It's I don't know. I probably could have looked that up.
Did he do anything from Tron?
Yeah, they did that one new song that they've had out.
Cool.
I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, it's pretty good. And then that soundtrack's all right. I mean, I was expecting it to be a soundtrack, and it mostly is. There's like 4 or 5 songs with lyrics, and it's pretty decent. But yeah, he played stuff from every album. It was great.
That's awesome. So, I'm epically jealous.
Yeah. So besides that, I know last time I gave a little health update. It might have sounded a little scary. I got some more results. I did a stress echocardiogram and EKG, and I talked to the cardiologist. And other than all the plaque, everything is great. There's nothing like pumping weird. It doesn't seem like I have any significant blockages yet. So I guess, the follow-up news to the initial diagnosis could not have been better. So
good. Well,
that was a positive.
Join the statin club.
Yeah, I'm like waist deep in the statin club now. Got me on quite a dose.
I'm sure half of the Nine Inch Nails crowd was too.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Totally. But besides that, I did sneak in like 5 minutes of gaming. I'm still working on Wind Waker. in the 3 weeks since the last time we recorded, I played maybe 5 minutes of that. but you had sent me a link to these GameCube Joy-Cons for what we both thought was the Switch 2.
That was the consensus. We both read the
Yes.
site.
It looked like it. Well, and the funny thing is, I realize now I had seen that exact controller before and almost bought it. And then I was like, oh, no, this is for Switch 1. But anyways, yeah, it showed up and it's for Switch 1. And then I was like, oh, I could have sworn, I thought it was a new one. I thought they updated it.
So
but anyways,
yeah.
I got some, I got these for 20 more bucks. I got these adapters off of Amazon. And so you can make a Switch 2 controller sit on the, you can make a Switch 1 controller sit on the Switch 2 rails. And it looks huge and goofy, but it works. And I'm looking forward to playing more of that. And I hope I can get it done before Metroid Prime 4 comes out in December.
December, yeah. I guess it'll be December before we know it. Yeah.
Yeah. You better start Christmas shopping now.
Yeah, it's already spooky season.
So what have you been up to?
Oh, geez. Other than, family stuff, health stuff, my health stuff's all good. We just talked I won't go into it, but it's all good. Traveling to the States soon, which, no offense to anyone, just not into it. Just because, I spent 40 years there. It'll be nice visiting family.
No fun anyway.
What's that?
Yeah. Travel is no fun anyway to begin with.
With kids,
that's a long trip. If
it's just I've flown back and forth to Australia 12 times now, I think, but mostly alone, which is fine. With kids, it's a lot, and so
you can't just sleep through it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I, for the cost of this trip, we could have taken like a baller Tokyo Kyoto trip or Singapore or something like that.
Yeah.
But instead,
I'm having similar thoughts about, flying back east for Thanksgiving. I'm like, for that price, could probably just go to Hawaii instead.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so, instead we'll be in the Rust Belt. So, but been emailing Hugh, so may have a quick meetup.
Nice.
Me and him usually meet at a brewery, but I actually quit drinking about 2 months ago. So maybe we'll do Galloping Ghost. Who knows?
Oh, you got to do that.
Yeah, I've been there before. It is great. It is a lot of fun. But now I think they have a Marble Madness 2, which I've never played. So I would like to see.
Yeah, I've only heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, look at the notes because it's been so long since we've recorded. The movie I'm in is out and it's traveling around. So search for Is That All There Is documentary, and you may see me in a movie in your town. And they're shopping it to the Netflixes and Amazons of the world right now to get some streaming. And I was worried what I said in it. It's a documentary about a certain period in Detroit music that's right around the time where garage rock became huge, and Detroit was the next, supposed to be the next Seattle. But it's about all the bands who weren't part of the garage rock scene. And I recorded all those bands, and I was in 2 of them. So I actually am in the movie a lot, and I didn't hate what I said. So, you always leave an interview or something. And you're like, I don't know if I could have said a whole bunch of different things different ways. So, but it was all right. It was good.
Maybe you can send me a link. I'll put it out on the socials and whatnot because I'm not finding it.
Oh yeah.
I see one from 1992.
Yeah.
Is it that old?
Yeah, it's weird that they never updated the trailer. So the trailer is still like the pre-sizzle reel. It's weird, but I guess that's what you do with an indie film. I finished Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Nice. It went from a 9 out of 10 game for me to like a 7.5 out of 10 right when I got to the last boss. I love the game. Fantastic game. If you don't play first-person games because they make you pukey, this one's fine. It's like Portal. I was totally fine with it.
Okay.
It plays well. It's fun. It feels like an Indiana Jones movie. It feels in-universe. It's probably better than, at least 2 of the movies. But the problem with...
At least.
Yeah. And I actually do love all but one of the movies. I even love the Young Indiana Jones TV show, but The whole game teaches you to not fight, to not use guns. It's a sneaky game. You're a professor. You're not a fighter. And unlike Assassin's Creed games where you could have like a pile of dead bodies in a bush and have, the bad guys be like, oh, I guess he's gone. Nothing to see here. This isn't my words. This is in the game. The bad guys are just called fascists because you're in Italy during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of timely. But so they will hang around for a very long time, especially if you use a gun. Then you get to the end boss. And all of a sudden they want you to melee the whole time. And this end boss has like a 2-meter front kick, which is like impossible to dodge. So that kind of threw me off a bit, but I really liked it. I mostly played it while sitting alone up in my office. And your main friend, woman friend in this is named Gina. And he says her name all the time. And every time he said it, because I'm 12, I would repeat and just say Gina. And I would just laugh to myself every time. And it never got old. So if you play the game, think of me anytime you hear the name Gina.
I have a really good friend named Gina that I call Gina. She's fine with it. Cool.
It was from like I remember there was like some speed dating in a Will Ferrell movie or something like that where they kept saying that joke.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm done with games until my trip, but I have been playing on my Analog Pocket a bit late at night. So our next Game Club game will come from that, and I'm very excited for it. And a lot of these notes I planned on having, we thought we'd record earlier. And so this is a bit dated, but this is a retro show, so who cares? But that Nintendo Direct from like 2 weeks ago, where they announced a Virtual Boy.
Yes. So, I am going to buy it.
Yeah, I'm upset.
I'm going to buy it and use it one time and...
So the thing with it, like my take on it is I am endlessly happy that they did this. Nintendo's keeping it weird. They always buried the Virtual Boy, pretended like it didn't exist. And now they're celebrating it. And I just love that. They like erased this console,
Right.
I know there was a hack to do Virtual Boy on the 3DS, which I would still like to try because it's like true 3D. Yeah. So if you rooted your 3DS, do that. My only negative about this, and again, I haven't played it myself, so we'll see, is yes, I'm going to buy the giant piece of plastic unless, scalpers get it first. But it's required to get that plastic piece or that, Labo-like cardboard piece, which I wish they would just let you play the game. If you did,
yeah, like without the 3D.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe let you change the colors from like, eye-crippling red to something a little more subtle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just grayscale would be nice.
Yeah, that would be great too. Yeah. So, yeah, that is my take on that. Sorry, that was a lot of rambling there for the intro from me. But I do love...
Fine by me.
I do love my 9 Inch Nails. We do have some fun news items here. Let's see. Oh, Golden Ass. I'm not going to edit this out. Golden Ass. Golden Axe is being unofficially ported to the Atari 2600, and it is very impressive. It's a take on the Sega Master System port of it, and I have not played this, but I will almost guarantee you that it plays better than the TurboGrafx port of it.
Oh, really? It's that bad, huh?
It's that bad, yeah. And this looks really good. This looks like, those games where you're like, I can't believe that was on 2600, like California games.
Yeah.
This looks really good.
I did try it actually.
Really?
And yeah, I could kill one enemy, and then there's 2 enemies on screen. I could kill one right away, and the other one we would just walk through each other. I could not make contact. It wouldn't do anything to me. I couldn't get any further, but I couldn't find any reason for that. Maybe it's just the emulator I had or something.
I want to see, it's probably just 2600 being 2600, but I want to see the ending of this. If they, because that funny arcade animated ending of Golden Axe, I wonder if they keep it legit.
I'm sure that they're gonna. Well, if it was in the Master System one, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I did think it was the title screen was interesting because I couldn't figure out what that was supposed to be, and then there was a picture of it next to the title screen from the Master System side by side, and I was like, "Oh, I see." And it's like the big, muscly guy holding the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But like, unless you know that that's what you're looking at, it looks like, I don't know, just some amorphous blob.
yeah, it's almost like some katakana or something. Some weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that one. What else here? Oh, this is the worst story of the episode. Sega reportedly called police after mistakenly scrapping Nintendo's dev kits. And so what happened here, and I'm going to sum up a very complicated story very quickly, so don't at me with I'm missing some of the nuances, but this is pretty close to it. So Sega had some dev kits they were using in the UK, and they trashed them. And this reseller purchased them from, like a resale, almost like a junk lot, legally for about $13,000. Nintendo contacted Sega asking for them back, and Sega saying oops, and Nintendo strong-arming them. So what did Sega do? They called the police saying this guy had their property illegally. The police stormed him. He spent days, multiple days in jail for stuff he bought legally. And police still have the seized items. So it's like dev kits for like 3DS, 2DS, stuff like that. And a few prototype games and carts and stuff. And it looks like a Game Boy Advance and a Wii dev kit as well. And yeah, kind of ruined this guy's business. Definitely ruined some of his reputation, and he probably has some PTSD from this. So kind of a jerk move on Sega's part. Where
That's more of a Nintendo move.
Yeah. Of course, Nintendo is involved, but come on.
Right.
I mean, who cares about these old dev kits? We care about these old dev kits, but why would Nintendo? And
well, if you threw it out, that's at that point you've given up whatever claim you have on it.
Yeah. And apparently Sega worded it in a way to the police where they didn't question this guy too much. So not very cool. If you buy something at a scrapyard, I mean, that's legal. He did everything legally. It's not like he went trashing for this stuff.
It reminds me, actually, when I was, I don't know, middle school or high school, some family in the neighborhood left a CRT out on the street to be hauled away. This was in like the late 80s. So CRT was all you had. Some great find. Right? It was an old black and white one. And I was like, oh, cool, TV. I want one for my room. And I picked it up, took it to my room, plugged it in. And like, it took a long time to warm up, but it worked. And then the kid who lived there, who was like a year younger than me, found out about it. He's like, yeah, it was like, I'm sure it was just BSing, but he was like, it belonged to my grandma, and we really just want it to end up in the trash instead.
What?
I don't know. He's like, okay, here you go. Here, have it back.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. But that's what that story just reminded me of.
That's really strange. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to hopefully buy a place here and be able to collect CRTs again.
Nice.
I miss their warmth.
Literally.
Microsoft open sources its 6502 version of BASIC from 1976. That's the story.
I skimmed the code real quick because I do know some 6502, but I'm not going to sit there and follow all the subroutines. But I will say it was extremely well commented.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could follow it.
This was on the VIC-20 and Commodore 64 and the pet, but I wonder if any of Bill Gates' original code is in there from the Altair.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know.
I wonder.
I feel like some of it. Well, I don't know what kind of. The Altair wasn't a CPU, right? It was
It was a
like
headless
discrete
computer, right?
parts, right? But I mean, didn't it? Wasn't it all just like transistors and stuff? It didn't have like an actual CPU, did it?
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't know. That's too old for me to
Me too.
know
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about.
I caught it at the 2600.
Yeah.
A story that you have comments about. Let's see if I pronounce this right. Juergen's 100 megahertz 65F02 microprocessor is designed to work as an accelerator for 6502 and 65C02 computers.
Yeah. At first, I thought that was the shampoo company, but that's Juergen's or Jorgens. I
Close
don't
enough.
know. I thought this was really cool though. The title was misleading, I thought, and that's why I clicked on it, because it makes it sound like you have a separate card that's going to work as an accelerator within the 6502 machine, but it is essentially just a replacement for the 6502. It's got its own it's a FPGA. It's basically a system on a chip,
Mm-hmm.
because it needs to have its own RAM and ROM to run at the 100 megahertz speed of the CPU, because otherwise you're going to go through. I don't know how slow that bus was on like an Apple II or whatever. I mean, it was like a 1 megahertz CPU, I think, so it was
Mm-hmm.
probably a 1 megahertz bus. Like, yeah, it wouldn't be worth it. So I don't know. It does some tricks to do any kind of input and output, because that obviously goes at a slower speed. But I thought it was really cool. It's pretty neat. I've seen something similar before, but this was impressive.
I wonder if this will lead to someone creating a cheaper, simpler accelerator for the 2GS. Because the weird thing about the 2GS is that even though it's something with the clock speed where, yeah, like you said, even though it's running faster, the clock on the rest of the system is not. So it might have to somehow like process many things at once and then send it all back to the bus. I'm not quite sure how.
Yeah, I feel like
that
when the
works.
2GS, the clock speed would change, because they wanted it to be backwards compatible with the Apple II, and you could just boot it into that mode, right? But I think even in the regular 2GS mode, I think to work with all the hardware, I think it did kind of speed up and down. But I might not know what I'm talking about.
That's why the Trans Warp, I think, was the popular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why that one is just like really complex because yeah, it has to do something with the clock speed. If someone has details, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. I would like to know. What else do we have here? Oh yeah. Sega Laserdisc emulation has taken a major leap forward. So on most of your emulators, you can now, like MAME and RetroArch and stuff, you can now emulate Laser Active. And did you ever even see or touch or mess with the Laser Active? They seem pretty
I
rare.
definitely had not seen, touched, or messed with. I'm not even sure I've heard of it before. It does sound vaguely familiar, though.
So it is not like your standard, bit 1, bit 0 CD or DVD. It's complicated because it has like an analog FM like signal
Mm-hmm.
that is burned into it, and for the video and an audio track, and then there's also a digital audio track. And again, listeners, I know I'm simplifying something. It's a bit more complex, but it also could have Genesis or TurboGrafx compatibility. So that's why it's like really complicated to emulate this. And I wonder if they had to do like again, going back to the Apple II, those applesauce
Yeah, yeah.
exports. Yeah. So it's like the most precise export of a disc you could have. I wonder if they had to
Okay.
do something like that with this. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
you think they had some kind of copy protection built in because of the analog nature of a lot of the disc
Well, I
there?
just think it'd be weird. It's just like, what file format do you save that in? You know what I mean?
Right. You're like a super high resolution audio format or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Really strange. So again, if anyone smarter than me knows, email us, because this article on Time Extension doesn't go into that detail. But really cool. I'd like to check out. There's been a few streamers on Twitch that I follow. One of them is actually going through all the laser active games now, and there's a lot of garbage on there, but there are some fun stuff in there. So it's good to be able to check this out. Kind of a fluff article. Miyamoto explains how Super Mario Brothers 1-1 was created, and it's exactly what you thought it would be. It's it's a training level. You know, they found like every little thing that you might have to do through the game, and you it teaches you within the first 60 seconds, you know?
Yeah. I looked at this article. I don't think I ever put it together before. This is going to sound so dumb that when you start the game, you're just Mario. And when you get the mushroom, now you're Super Mario.
Oh,
I just never really clicked until I read that. But yeah, so yeah, the article just goes on to explain how what each part of it teaches you to do. I thought it was interesting actually that the Goombas were created late in the game because I guess initially the first enemy you come across is a Koopa Troopa, and they thought it'd be too difficult to deal with the fact that it becomes a turtle shell, and then if you bounce on the turtle shell, it's going to go flying, or you can pick it up, whatever. So they needed something simpler. So I thought that was kind of an interesting fact. But I feel like most of this was like, well, if you read the manual, you would have known anyway.
yeah.
But I do like a training level, though. I'm not. I just feel like this was an article that could have, you could have just read the manual.
There's a very popular YouTuber podcaster that I listen to that is going through every single North American NES game and ranking them.
Is it Nostalgia?
No.
Okay.
And
listen to that one too.
and a lot of his takes, he doesn't ever look at the manuals, and sometimes he'll downrank a game where, while I'm watching him, I'm like screaming at my screen, like, dude, if you just read the manual, it explains what you don't like about it, and it wouldn't be an issue, Yeah,
you kind of needed the manual for those older games.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you put in this article, right?
Yeah, so St. John of Nerd Noise Radio put this in our Discord, and I liked it. All lost iPod games have been recovered. So the 54 games released on the iPods that had like the click wheel, I think it was called, between 2006 and 2009. I had a few of those on one of my iPods at one time. I think I had Bejeweled, Tetris, and Vortex. Vortex was really cool. It was like Breakout, but you're looking down a well. So it had like a bit of perspective to it, and the ball bounces, down and back. That was really cool. I wish I still had that iPod actually. Well, I guess maybe I can emulate it or something.
Yeah, does it say how you can play these games?
I think you need to have an iPod, but I'm not positive. And then some of the other ones, though, that I just looked at the list. I wasn't aware that there was a Bomberman, Lode Runner, Pac-Man. That one makes sense, and Miss Pac-Man. There's some demos that they list as separate games too, which is weird, but whatever. Sonic the Hedgehog, and they had multiple Sims games, and then most excitingly, 3 SAT prep games.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize there were all these games. I had the Nano, I think, was the only iPod I had.
Yeah, that was a good one. They were all good.
Like we were talking about in the Discord, which everyone should get in our Discord. It seems like a lot of our chat is not an email anymore. It's almost all Discord. I was a mini disc fanboy instead
Yeah,
of
I wish I
iPod.
had one.
Yeah, they were cool.
I wanted to be a mini disc fanboy.
Well, I wanted to be as Japanese animation as possible, and that seemed like the medium to do it with.
That's fair.
All right, that is our news, and we have a dated topic here because it took us a while to record, but
But it was topical when you put it in the notes. I will say
yes,
that.
exactly, yes. But again, it's that's part of being on this podcast is poor information and dated topics.
Yes.
And the PlayStation turned 30 for the North American release date.
Right.
And so, yeah, the PlayStation was obviously you know the PlayStation, you're listening to this, but a MIPS R3000 CPU running at just under 34 megahertz with 2 meg RAM, 1 meg video RAM. So it wasn't as powerful as the N64, but it did have more texture RAM. I didn't think this console would be cool. You know, I was all about Nintendo or Sega, maybe even Atari making a comeback, and also PC gaming. I can't remember exactly the year I got one, if it was before I got the Nintendo 64 or after. I feel like I did get sick of waiting for a Nintendo 64 to be released, and I think I pulled the trigger on this, but I do remember selling my Turbo Duo to be able to afford this, and I got Rayman, and in my notes I put Soul Edge, but I know it was Battle Arena Toshinden, and one other game that I can't seem to remember. I remember having 3 games, and I remember after seeing the graphics in Battle Arena Toshinden that, like, just thinking like, all right, goodbye, friends. This is my life now. I'm just going to game at my house. But it didn't take me long to start missing my Duo because, you know, it had so many great games. I think, you know, feel free to chime in and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but this was the first multimedia console that didn't care about multimedia. And that was a good thing. And because of that, you know, it didn't have all the fluff like the CDI and stuff had that no one cared about. And because of that, it killed the 3DO. It killed the Saturn. Well, it's debatable. Sega kind of killed the Saturn. Killed the Jaguar, the Pippin, the CDI, PCFX. And I'm sure there are others. And it was way more likely that Sony would fail creating, you know, this whole new platform. I mean, we had Atari and Sega and Apple and NEC, all these other established companies failing. So I do think it was more likely Sony would fail. And at the time, Sega was already floundering. And, you know, all Sega had to do was the opposite of what they did, and they would have won. They just made every wrong decision. And yes, I understand that Sony was flush with money to be able to prop this thing up, but the smartest thing they did was they created a great SDK for developers, and they helped developers create great games, or so I heard. You know, through many interviews. I wasn't coding at the time.
But don't forget also though that this started as the Nintendo PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of them, you're coming out with this new console, which they had not put out before. You know, they went from being partners with Nintendo to now being competitors with them. So I feel like that could have easily worked against them as well.
Vindictive competitors.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think that helped them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always loved those Crash Bandicoot commercials where they showed up at Nintendo's North American headquarters and called them out. And
Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to plow through my notes here. I'll get to the games I like after that. Actually, before I moved to Australia the first time, I actually was hanging out with my friend, and he was in a pretty significant band back then, and they wrote and released a song that used a PlayStation sequencer. And I haven't linked in here. We don't have to link it in the show notes just because like no one has to go back and listen to it. But it was pretty impressive on what they did with this. And it launched with 12 titles. Let me just go through these really quickly. 3D Lemmings, Air Combat, Battle Arena Toshinden, ESPN Extreme Sports, Jumping Flash, Killik, did I pronounce that right? The DNA.
Yeah, I have no idea on that one.
NBA Jam, Nova Storm, Power Surf 3D Tennis, the Raiden Project, Project, Rapid Reload, Rayman, Ridge Racer, Street Fighter, the movie, Total Eclipse, and Wipeout. Not a bad lineup. So, 3D Lemmings, it's an easy one. It's a good game. Maybe you don't want Lemmings on a whole new system that you want to, to be like the arcade at home. A Battle Arena is great. The sports games are great. Jumping Flash, Miyamoto actually cited as helping them figure out what you could do in 3D. Even though it's first person, it kind of showed what you could do. Nova Storm is great. Yeah, I mean, if you're buying a new system, you have at least 2 to 5 games here that you would have fun, on day one. So that's something they did really well. One thing it opened me up to was mod chips. I had so many games that were just CDR, but I was also on a Yahoo groups where a lot of Japanese people were on, and we'd be trading North American and Japanese games. So I got a lot of Japanese games that way. And
how long did it take to download that? That's 700 megabytes. Well, I guess they don't necessarily take up a full CD, but
yeah. And I would download one and instantly put it on CD to get that hard drive space back.
That too, yeah. And kids these days don't know the struggle.
Because CDs were pretty cheap then. That was nice that CDRs were always kind of cheap. A year after this came out, the Nintendo 64 was released, and it only released with debatably 3 games, kind of with 2 if you don't count the driving game that Dan Hess did. And Mario was amazing, and the Zeldas that came out were amazing, but it didn't really have the lineup that Sony did. Sony really beat them on that, especially taking Squaresoft. And it didn't take me too long to realize that the Nintendo 64 was not the better system, even though more often it looked nicer. And so I would constantly go back to the PlayStation. And the games I loved at the time were Symphony of the Night, Crash Bandicoot, Taken, Rayman. I did not know that was not an exclusive at the time. Parappa the Rapper, Army Men, Wipeout, and there were many more. I didn't care for Final Fantasy VII, but I loved watching my buddy play it. The same person I mentioned earlier. And that's about it. It's what do you think the legacy that the PlayStation 1 has today? If you had to,
I mean, if it wasn't for the PlayStation 1, we wouldn't have the PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and 5.
True, yeah.
6. I mean, the Sony, while I think many people don't love them as a company, they've managed to be very successful over the years. Certainly more so than Microsoft has been with the Xbox series.
Yeah.
Series.
For me, it's like, don't count out the new platform. This should have failed, and it pretty much took over gaming to this day. And I know you don't have. I don't have I guess I do have a pretty good history of PlayStation, but you didn't actually own the original PlayStation at the time, right?
I never owned one. My parents bought my brother one. My parents would buy him everything, and they would never buy us video game consoles when I was still in the house. But as soon as I moved out, they bought him a Genesis, and then eventually bought him a PlayStation. So they're like, he doesn't have anybody to play with. So You can't tell that I'm a middle child.
Yeah.
But, but I was home one time over Christmas break or something, some extended break from college, and when he had the PlayStation, and I just remember playing Tomb Raider like all day. I didn't shower. I barely ate. I was sucked in. That's how I spent the better part of a week, probably one time circa, I don't know, 1996 or something.
So do you remember if you beat that game?
No, I made it really far. I was like, how long is this game?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kept going and going and going. And then I eventually had to go back to school before I finished.
That is not an easy game.
No. And well, I just remember having to restart levels over and over again because it is a difficult game, especially because it's early 3D platforming. There's no analog stick. So
yeah,
it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like it. It did kind of auto aim for you though, which was nice. And I liked the sort of realism of the gunfire. You didn't see a projectile, right? You just kind of shot in the direction of something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and it reacted. But that was the first time I really experienced anything like that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic port of that game for sure.
Yeah. Besides that, I don't really know if I've had a whole lot of experience with any PlayStation consoles, which is why I haven't been saying a whole lot here.
Well, you had the Mini for a little bit, right?
That's right. I had the Mini for a little bit. I don't remember what I played on it. Just kind of checked it out, and I think we gave it away as a gift one time on the show, and I don't remember who that was to.
Yeah, if I was starting a little bit earlier, it's because like I have all these notes, but I'm like, wait a minute, I thought I made different points here. But in a little bit, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo 64 and mini consoles. So I was scrolling down in the notes, I'm like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be talking about that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, my last note on them is the games I want to play that I haven't yet. There is a action RPG called Alundra, which is beautiful and fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So I want to play that through. And then Armored Core. I've never played an Armored Core game, and I've heard a lot of great things. And there's just literal hundreds, possibly even thousands of games. So I want to check them out a lot more. And they're way more accessible now with emulation.
You can fit most of them on just a couple of CD spindles.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I miss having CD spindles around. For the longest time, I had just a spare one with a USB CD burner just in case, but they never got used.
I still have, I think I have two spindles. One of them is software discs, and the other one I think is maybe, I think it's just files, like old archived files.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have like 3 spindles of like verbatim Data Life DVD-Rs or something, because they were like the best ones, and I got them on sale or something. And I still have a USB burner, but I will, at this rate, if I burn one in the next 5 years, it'll be a special occasion.
Yeah, you should definitely film that. I actually, before I moved here, I went through all my CD backups from when I was running a studio, and a significant portion of them had bit rot, which is unfortunate because they were the really expensive Pro Disc ones. But the problem,
really?
The problem is I stored them in my garage. So Detroit gets really hot in the summer and really cold in the winter, so I'm sure that did not help. And there are some significant multi-Grammy winning artists that I wish I still had my Pro Tool sessions for to practice mixing with. Those are gone forever now.
Yeah, I learned the bit rot lesson early on, not to buy the cheap ones. But you weren't buying the cheap ones; you just didn't store them properly.
Exactly.
But I was able to recover most of the stuff that I had lost, because they weren't so far gone that if you just kept repeatedly trying to copy the files off of them, you could eventually get one.
Error correction would eventually help.
Yeah, right.
With those two, sorry listeners, we got into CD talk here, but some
That's
of,
retro.
yeah, it is. I don't know if you ever used Toast for backing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Toast was big for me. Roxio Toast. For people that don't know, you could actually use it for mastering Red Book and Orange Book audio, but not actually like making the audio sound better, but doing like putting in the serial code numbers and stuff like that, and actually like making your disc how you want it to, be played, like if there's a 2-second delay between songs and all that stuff. But it also had a great backup feature. It would create .toast files on Mac.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, I learned a bad lesson with that. So all my Toast backups, because the reason why, listeners, you would want to do this is it would automatically span disks, kind of like you could span, zip files. And then if you put one of those disks in, Toast would automatically load, and it would just ask for disk 1, disk 2, yada, 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 as it put them back on your hard drive. Well, my last Toast backup was probably 2006. So that would have been PowerPC, 32-bit, I think, and at least the operating system. And this would have been a year ago on, and M1 or whatever Mac, and I put my CD in, and I actually bought Toast, and it would not do it. It kept asking for, because it put like, I don't know if it actually put a Toast executable or something on disk with it, on disk 1, but it would not load it because it was the wrong processor and the wrong bit. And I was just like, come on, guys. Why did you do it? Why do you do me this way? They didn't.
There should be some kind of archive tool to help you out, but
Well,
I guess not.
You just have to drag the files manually and just make sure you get them all in the right folders, which I was able to do. But I was really annoyed because I actually called them up and they didn't even come up with, like a weird command line tool, to use or something.
Right.
Would have taken them like a day to write. Yeah. But anyway, CD talk. Game Club. I've been talking so much. You want to start with your Game Club game?
Sure. My Game Club game was Castlevania Bloodlines. It was released by Konami for the Genesis and Mega Drive, March 17th, 1994. It was called Vampire Killer in Japan. And in the PAL regions, it was called Castlevania The New Generation, which that's kind of a lame title.
Yeah. But it is, I guess it is a new generation.
It's accurate, right? But
but so is Bloodlines.
Yes, exactly. So this one's a bit more like the original Castlevania, and I guess like Castlevania 4 than Castlevania 2 or 3 was. 2 was more open exploratory kind of, and then 3 you had the branching pathways. This is one stage at a time, one boss at the end of each. Get to the end, kill Dracula. That's your goal, which is how I like my Castlevanias. Although I think 3 is still my favorite. So the branching paths, different characters, that's cool. So I played this on my little brother's Sega Genesis that my parents bought him around the time that the game was new. This is my favorite not 8-bit Castlevania game, but revisiting it now, it's got some problems, but I still think I like it better than Castlevania 4. And then people are going to hate me for this. I've never actually played Symphony of the Night. I played it for like 5 minutes and stopped. It wasn't because of the game. It was because I had to emulate it and it wasn't working well.
Okay.
But I also didn't feel compelled to try to seek out how to be able to play that. Someday I will. So, feel free to email and tell me why I should, but I will eventually.
It will be a Game Club game, and it's actually one that I want to 100% before a Game Club game.
Okay, nice. And I did play, there was one on the Game Boy Advance that I played that was like Circle of the Moon or something like that. But yeah, this one is one I will keep coming back to. You've got 2 characters to choose from. I like them both. John Morris has the whip, which seems like that's how you should play, as it is a Castlevania game. And you can use that whip to swing from place to place, which isn't not immediately obvious. And then the other character is Eric Lecard. He can jump up real high so he can get to areas that John Morris can't. And I really liked using him though, because he can just stand in place and kind of like spin his spear back and forth. It's the Alucard spear. Have you ever done that? Like stand there, you just spin it back and forth and hit things. It looks cool. It's kind of like a bow staff.
Yeah. He's the Leonardo of the game.
Exactly. The password system in this, I had a little trouble with the password system in this, thinking back to the day, because how do you write that down, right?
Yeah.
Castlevania 3, it was kind of workable. You had a whip, a cross, or a heart, so you could just write a W, a C, or an H. This, you have like a crystal, an axe, and the coat of arms. So 2 of them begin with a C.
Geez, yeah.
So like, how do you just? So that was always an issue. But for the most part, you're going to sit here and sit there and play through it anyway. Or you had like whatever gaming magazine that gave you some codes. A little bit different here. You have crystals instead of hearts. That's the ammo for your subweapon. You have sacred water instead of holy water or firebomb. Another interesting change, you can upgrade the subweapons. I thought that was kind of interesting. So you can just have like the regular boomerang, or if you collect it twice, something, I forget what it is exactly you have to do, but I always did it on accident. But you can upgrade the subweapon, and if you press up and C, I think, is your subweapon button, then that does like the super one. It's like for the boomerang, you throw 3 of them. For the axes, you throw 3 of them. And it's pretty much 3 of everything. The one that's different is the sacred water. Is that what it's called? And it kind of does this weird balance, and you get 3 like columns of fire.
I don't think I knew about this mechanic.
You don't need it, but it's cool. And then the thing that I didn't know about, that I learned about this, or I don't remember anyway, was you can also then get these mystical attacks. There's 1 for each of the 2 characters. So John Morris has what's called a water dragon, and it's just like it just shoots out water that kind of like crawls around the screen in like a snake-like fashion to kill whatever. And then the other guy, Lecard, he has Thunderbolt Spear, and it just kind of like shoots these like floppy disks. Not floppy disk not a floppy disk like you stick in a computer, but like a disc shape that kind of flops back and forth. I'm doing motions with my hand that Rob can see.
Yeah.
But and that it's almost a clean screen clearing thing, but it just damages stuff. It was not going to wipe everything off of the screen. You can jump on staircases in this game. What an innovation!
Yeah.
Instead of being stuck to them like in the earlier Castlevania games. I think it's a great looking game too. The second stage specifically, I think, is one of my favorites in all of Castlevania lore. That's the what's the name of that one? But it's got the water level that keeps going up and down, and you kind of have the pseudo reflection, right? And there's a really cool video about how that works, done by Retro Game Mechanics Explained. So that's an interesting video. So check that out if you want. The Leaning Tower of Pisa stage is pretty impressive too. On the downside, I don't like a lot of the bosses because they all seem to have that weird design. I don't know if it was just the Konami thing on the Genesis, but like they did this in Hardcore 2, where the bosses, like the arm will be like 5 balls, and the balls will like spread out. It's like they're attached by some imaginary elasticity.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know, it's something about that. I just don't like that design, especially when all the bosses kind of do that same thing. It was impressive back in the day, but I don't know. I prefer like a big sprite, or big character made out of sub sprites, right? And the only other note I really have on it is that the music is pretty good. Also, again, especially stage 2 and stage 6. But I think when it comes to these 16-bit consoles, I prefer the fartiness of the Genesis FM synthesizer. to the compressed, muted sounds of the Super Nintendo.
I agree. Yeah, yeah.
Nothing beats the NES for me though, in terms of console music. Maybe the Famicom, because it's got that extra channel. But. What did you think about this one?
Well, so I'm bad at Castlevania games, which I would like to fix. I always have been. I have a note here that says Elizabeth uses the souls of the fallen from World War I to resurrect Dracula, and that is metal as hell. We just can't gloss over how metal that is. There is a cheat here that I wanted to point out that I thought was interesting. So if you set the background music to 5, you could change the music levels, and you set the soundtrack effects to 73, then you use the Konami code, you get 9 lives and a new music track until you get hit once. So once you get hit, you get the original music.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like you said, the reflection in the water in stage 2 is really impressive. And I want to play this one more. I didn't have as much time as I wanted to play with this one. I think I sat down with it twice. But I wanted to point out that, like, is this the exact same castle as from Castlevania 1? Because it is very much like level 1 is Castlevania 1, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know if it's the exact same one, but I think it is meant to be reminiscent of it.
It's really close.
It would make sense if it was the same one, I guess.
It's really close.
I mean, you have a clock tower and everything. So
yeah. And then so I didn't know this existed until the Genesis was already a dated system. And I don't know why, I never crossed paths with it. I always, up until the PlayStation, I always thought Castlevania was a Nintendo exclusive. So when you saw this, did it blow your mind that Castlevania was now on a Sega console?
It did seem weird to me back in the day, yeah. I was like, oh, that's like,
it's like
what
cheating.
happened to Nintendo?
Yeah. Yeah, I was very surprised when I saw this. And Contra, to tell you the truth, right?
Right, yeah. Same with Contra Hardcore, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there a Mega Man on Mega Drive? I could be wrong.
I think that I'm confusing. I know somebody made one recently, and I'm wondering if I'm confusing it with that. But I think there is one. I think there is one that's like a kind of like a remake of. I think it's like a remake of the first Mega Man.
The Wily Wars.
Wily Wars.
Yes.
Yeah. I remembered it just as you said it.
Yeah, and it was on the Genesis Mini. Yeah, so that felt like cheating too.
I played that a little bit. I don't like it as much as the original.
Neither do I.
Mega Man games. I don't like any of the Mega Man games after the 8-bit era, anyway, except for the ones that look like they're 8-bit. I guess 11 was okay. 11 was all right.
11. I was quoted on this podcast to say it. 11 may have made me retire from Mega Man games, but I do want to go back and visit it, and I do want to go back and visit. Was it was 8 the first one on PlayStation?
Yes, that was the only one on PlayStation. I think.
Okay.
7 was Super Nintendo. 8 is the only one I've never finished, actually.
Wow.
Of the main line, like I've like there's plenty of the Mega Man X and ZX and all that I have not. But 8's the only one that I haven't been able to finish because of that stupid surfboarding stage. Where it's like jump, and I came so close so many times and I just finally gave up.
What a beautiful game, though.
Are you sure?
I thought it looked cool. Yeah, I really thought it looked cool.
Sorry, it looks cool. It does look cool, but it's got like that horrible voice acting and.
Oh yeah, no, I mean specifically visuals.
Yeah. No. All right, I'll give you that. It does look cool.
Any closing thoughts on Castlevania Bloodlines?
Just play it. It's a good one, unless you hate Castlevania.
Yeah. I did a complete opposite game of that, Banjo-Kazooie. This was a 1998 rare game on Nintendo 64, developed by 15 people, obviously inspired by Mario 64 and Disney games. There's this stupid witch named Gruntilda. That always is hard for me to pronounce. She steals your sister because she's pretty or something, and Banjo takes his best friend Kazooie to save her, and you platform around these 3D hubs, and you gain abilities. It sold 3 million copies, which is pretty good, and it reviewed very well, 9 out of 10s and stuff like that. So I never played this that I remember back in the day. I remember when it came out. I remember friends having it and talking about it. But when this came out, it was the first time I was single in 5 years. I was in a band that was becoming popular. And I think I had already kind of, other than like mainline Zelda games, kind of switched to PlayStation at this point. And I also had a Nintendo 64 Mr. Backup. So if I was playing Nintendo 64 at all, it was like weird Japanese games.
Nice.
But so I wasn't really gaming much for these few years to begin with. And if I was, it was weird games that I was getting from Japan. And so, yeah, I played a lot of it this time. I did not finish it. It's going to sound like I'm being really harsh on this game, but that's not my intent. I did like it. I did think it was impressive. You know, it's a fine game. I don't know if I'd give it a 9 out of 10. You know, people at the time wanted more Mario 64, and Rare gave it to them. It has pretty much the same story, pretty much the same graphics, and the same camera. But it just didn't hit me like Mario 64 did. It's kind of close. The controls are worse. The visuals are a bit more bland than Mario 64. Mario 64 had perfect controls, finely tuned for the analog stick other than the camera. Like, yeah, we can't give that camera a pass, even though it's still, you know, they're still trying to figure it out. And Mario was, I think, you know, more brightly and beautiful colored. Humor in video games in general is very difficult.
Yes.
And this game did not hit it. I don't know if many games other than like, man, it's hard to think of any, maybe Monkey Island and, you know, some of the, you know, the first 3 Space Quest games, maybe even the 4th Space Quest game. It's hard to be funny. And this was more cheesy than funny. And putting myself back in my shoes back then in 98, I think I would feel the exact same way that I do today about this game. I love 3D platformers of this era. I'm not sure why I'm being so critical on this one, because I did have fun playing it. Maybe it's because it's held in such high esteem and that it was reviewed so well.
Right.
But, you know, I'd like to play the second one. And I think another one came out since then, maybe. What are your thoughts? Do you have any history of this one at all?
No, I remember when we talked about what the next Game Club games were going to be in the last episode. I was like, oh, you know, is it the one with the, you know, this such and such character? And I was like, I think I played it on the PlayStation. I realized I was talking about Crash Bandicoot.
Ah, yes.
But that I did not. I wish I had more time. I would have liked to have tried this one, but I didn't. I did watch part of a speed run. It seemed like kind of a collectathon to me.
Yes.
But maybe a little not open world, but like you had more options of where to go.
Yeah, it's like
So
open
not
hub.
totally closed. Yeah.
It's open. Each hub you could kind of, for one point, change into a different character and kind of solve a puzzle, which is kind of neat.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, just collectathons aren't for me, but I would have liked to have tried it. And I didn't make it too far in the speed run because I think that you can go a little faster if you're doing whatever move it is that makes the bird make a sound.
Oh,
Because
jeez.
the guy was doing it nonstop. So I guess I could have just muted it. But
Well, this is on Switch Online, so if you ever want to try it out, you could hop in pretty quickly.
yeah. That's why I had intended to try it, but I didn't get the chance.
So what would you like to play next?
Okay. Why don't you go first?
Oh, yeah, because mine inspired yours. That's right. Yep. Next is a game that I have been playing. I know I said I haven't been playing a lot of games lately, but this game I have been sneaking in and playing it quite often and I probably will again for the next episode. But Chips Challenge, and I will be playing on the Atari Lynx.
Nice. Yeah. So I swear I was going to pick Chips Challenge. I had a browser tab open on my phone for Chips Challenge. 'Cause I wanted to see, like, where could I play it if possible. And then I saw that you put that in the notes. So that was an interesting choice and a good one. I'm curious about that one. I am going to pick Rolling Thunder in the arcade because that was a game I always saw at the arcade. And when I was fortunate enough to have a few quarters, I was terrible at it, but it always looked really cool to me. And I'd like to make it a little further in there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this game. This is
you
a
can,
good
like,
choice.
You just walk around and shoot at guys with bags on their head, essentially.
Yes.
You can, like, I just remember you can jump up onto the higher level railing, and you can, like, go in the doors. I don't think that does anything for you, but I've never made it.
I'm going to
past the
see
first
if I
game,
have any other
probably.
ports. Like, I know this is on Nintendo, but I want to see if I have other ports of this because there's some cool. Maybe like the Amiga port might be pretty cool to try.
Yeah. And play whatever port you want. I'm going to put a link to the arcade archive, or what do they call it? They call it the Internet Arcade, I guess they call it. It's archive.org. But if it's the arcade games, they have a separate collection there. So I'll put a link for that there. It'll work if you plug in a controller and all that.
So if any of our listeners play Rolling Thunder, Chips Challenge, Castlevania Bloodlines, Banjo-Kazooie, if you are rated by Sega, or if you play Golden Axe for 2600, or if you upgrade your 6502 processor, or even emulate some laser active discs, or play some iPod games, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net. Get in our Discord, get on our socials. Most things come from our Discord now, which is not a bad thing at all. I love our Discord, and I'm very happy. It seems to be active like 2 or 3 times a week. Everyone pops in, and then everyone's back to their busy lives.
We're on the same schedule now.
Yes, which is weird since I'm like 16 hours ahead of you or whatever. And we have a lot of responses from our social media this week. The No Swear Gamers question, what games do you think were missing from the mini consoles that have been released in the past decade? So I'll put my answer in there first. Pretty much other than the PlayStation, I thought they all had solid lineups. So this is me being nitpicky so I can answer this question. For the TurboGrafx Mini, it did not have Bonk 3 or enough sports games, so could have used those. For the Nintendo Classic, absolutely more Sunsoft, Capcom, and Konami games.
Yeah.
SNES had a solid lineup, so I put like maybe Donkey Kong Country games, more of those. The Genesis, there were 2 consoles, and both had great lineups, including the second one, the Mini 2, had a Sega CD game. So no notes. The PlayStation Mini, that's the only one that needed all the space for the CD games. So maybe that's why it ran like trash. Maybe that money went into space, especially when you hack the other consoles. It actually ran PlayStation games better than that one.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then, they put a lot of the PAL ports on it, which nothing wrong with those regions, but it runs at a different frame rate that is not as fast. So they could have also put maybe Final Fantasy VIII, some more Crash on there, and some Symphony of the Night, Parappa, Alundra. Yeah. But the controller was cool. I like the controller. Did you have any answers for that one? I didn't see if you had notes.
I neglected to answer that one, and nothing comes to mind off the top of my head other than to agree with you specifically on the NES one.
Yeah. MT writes in, and I love his answer for this. He wins the answer for this, and it's homebrew games. And he comments that that's where the Evercade really shines because it puts homebrew right next to the official commercial era titles, and it puts them on the same playing field. And you know what? A lot of times the homebrew games are just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
And I would like to point out that I have a complete EverDrive collection, and if
Nice.
anyone is interested in amazing homebrew games that you will like pretty much all of them, get the Indie Heroes collections. Those cards are amazing. Go out and buy them.
I think I have the first one.
I forgot you have Evercade?
I do. It's one of those things that I bought and it just sits there because I don't have time to use it.
Yeah, yeah. Retirement can't happen soon enough.
And my son got it's I think it's licensed by Evercade or I forget what it was, but essentially it looks more like a Game Boy, but it's like yellow and blue. And it had something built in. I forget what game was like built into it. I think I want to say it's a Capcom.
Yeah,
Something
there's a Capcom
right?
one. Yeah.
But then it also has a cartridge slot and it will take Evercade cartridges. And so I was like giving him cartridges to use and he used that for a little while, but then stopped because he has an iPad and watches brain rot.
Yeah.
All day.
Yes. We have the same problem here. But I do think that, this should be a question of the episode sometime, or a topic sometime, just Evercade in general, because collecting on that. It is, I think, the most fun system to collect for and actually play the games.
They did a great job with releasing it and maintaining it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few revisions to that system. I mean, if I had more time to play it, I would probably buy the newer handheld version of it.
Yeah, I have, what's this one right next to me? I have, for the listeners to see with their eyes, the EXP. This is like the 2022 model.
Yeah.
And I do have a screen to someday update it with. It doesn't really need it.
Oh.
But Gunbird has a question also. What are your favorite non-console retro games? And again, I'll just throw mine in there quickly. The Sierra Quest games, X-Wing TIE Fighter games, and LucasArts games. And 4D Boxing, Starcom, which not a lot of people talk about Starcom. That's a great one. Castles and any Asteroids clones. And you had some in there too.
Yeah, I thought about it for a while and I was having trouble coming up with anything, but then I remembered Karateka. I mean, that was life-changing to me back in the day. That was unbelievable. That's the first game I think I may have ever beat. It had cool cinematics in it and all that was on an Apple II. Like what Jordan Mechner did with that game on the Apple II is nothing short of magic. It is amazing. And if you haven't picked up the Karateka, what do they call it? Documentary. There's something that they put out recently.
Yeah, I forget the actual title, but it's fantastic.
Right. But it's got a bunch of different versions of the game and a lot about how it was made. And I don't know, I thought that was a worthwhile purchase.
And his dad is like the most lovable person in any video ever.
Yes. So that and Space Quest, the first Space Quest is when I played and took forever to finish, but finally did.
Definite classic.
Apple II. Yeah.
And Karateka is on a console, but none of them are good. It's like, just pretend like those don't exist.
Yeah.
Because they're bad. Sorry, I've been rambling a lot this episode. Do you feel like taking a few of these?
Sure. Gunbur answers his own question. One of his favorites on the C64 was Racing Destruction Set. It was a split screen car racing game that you could design your own tracks in. He says that they used to have fun trying to crash the game by making a huge jump, setting it to moon gravity and seeing how far they could get the car to go. And that you could definitely get outside the track memory because it started displaying random characters after a while.
See, I'm hoping this comes to the Evercade. This looks awesome.
Racing Destruction Set?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gunbur's most played non-console game is the C64 version. Somebody had a C64. The C64 version of Bard's Tale. And he's still amazed at how many people remember those games whenever he brings it up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's once brought it up with me. Even this is one of my friends in real life, by the way. In case I think I mentioned that every time. Even people that don't seem like geeks now. Okay, I see what he says. Even people who don't seem like they're geeks now have played it and have fond memories. And I'm sure he means geeks in the lovingest way.
Yes.
Hugh wrote in, I think this was technically an email, but it was so short I just threw it here because it fit in here.
Yeah.
He wrote in, he reinterprets the question. I like this answer. Instead of PC games, he's going with an arcade game, one that would be impractical to port to a console, and that is Baby Pac-Man. If you don't know, that's like a pinball table and a video game in one, right?
Mm-hmm. If you go down all the way in the screen, it brings you to the pinball, actual live action pinball set.
Right. That's interesting. He says it wasn't the best Pac-Man game. He says it's not the best Pac-Man game or the best pinball game, but it's the best cabinet, and it was always fun. And he was going to pick Dragon's Lair, but it had a couple of good console ports, so he figured that didn't count.
We when we were talking about creating this podcast, we had I think I just talked about this. I don't know if I'm remembering wrong, but
It's fine.
yeah. No one's still listening this deep into the podcast. We had a quick like Zoom call, and I happened to be in my basement arcade at the time, so I kind of walked him around it in video, and he actually pointed, he was like, is that a Baby Pac-Man? So even back then, he loved that game. And I didn't own it for very long because those things need a lot of maintenance, and like he said, it's not the best Pac-Man game and not the best pinball game. You know, it takes up a lot of space, so it was in high demand, so I sold that one, and I forget what I got instead.
Retro Gaming Dev. This is Nate in the Discord, I think, not Doodle World Nate.
No.
Nate.
Okay. Not Doodle World Nate.
Yeah.
Different Nate. Yeah.
Yeah. But another Nate developer. He says back in the day, he was really into the Gold Box SSI games for PC. Specifically, the Dragon Lace stuff was his favorite. He says that they seem clunky now, but they did a great job of capturing the feeling of Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. And he played the heck out of Dungeon Hack, which is another SSI game. It's a first-person dungeon crawler, but each dungeon is randomly generated. Probably the earliest procedurally generated game he's played. I haven't heard of that. I had heard of Dungeon Hack. I did not realize that it was procedurally generated.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. Wow. Yeah. And Eric from the Pacific Northwest writes in, and he would say Baldur's Gate 1, Jedi Knight, Deus Ex, Fallout 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 3. He played those games for many hours as a teen and preteen, probably beat him each like 3 or 4 times. He owns the big box of all of them, but had to repurchase them because, we got rid of stuff eventually. But he never had Fallout 2 as a kid. And he's never finished Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and he doesn't own the big box yet. So he will get that one.
I have faith.
Let's see. Guido23, he loves this question, and he says, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Gold Box games, X-Wing TIE Fighter, Ancient Empires 2, which I'm surprised that hasn't come up yet. That's a good one. And Warlords Battlecry series. And that sounds familiar. I don't know if I played that one, though.
I don't know that one, no.
I'm hoping you take the next one, because I'm interested to see how we pronounce the name. I think I have it, but let's see what you do with it.
I think I also did a typo on that.
Oh.
I think it's supposed to be a 1 and not an I. I remember there was a 1 in there, but like the copy and paste got screwed up. It's a long story. It's a long behind the scenes story, but extra fries.
That's what I thought.
think this was an Instagram comment. Says Commander Keen was always his favorite, and it's a shame that it never got the attention that it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Turbo Force 1984, great name, says Doom 2, Wolfenstein 3D, Duke Nukem 3D, the You Don't Know Jack games, Dino Park Tycoon, and the Magic School Bus. Like, was that a game based on the show?
I don't know. Yeah.
Or show based on the game? I don't know.
And
Craig, go ahead.
Craig writes in and says Ultima 7, and I do know that back in the day he had a BBS that had a Ultima-like title. or, name of the BBS. So great answer. And I do have a question for him or any of the listeners, is that I would like to get into some Ultima. Back in the day, I dabbled in the first few a little bit. And when you go back and look at them now, the first like one or two didn't age very well. So I would like some suggestions on where to pop in on the series, what the best ones are to start with that, aren't too dated, that, may have aged pretty well. So please give me some advice.
Not Ultima 1.
Don't do that one.
The last one is from Jim, and he says the original Duke Nukem games. So a couple of people wanting that Duke Nukem.
Yeah, and you could play all those on the Evercade. Great collections there. And thank you all for writing in. We love all your feedback on all this stuff, and we really appreciate it. And Zach, what do you think the next question of the episode should be?
Okay, so this one I was inspired by the Wind Waker's Boomerang, and so that's my answer to this question. The question being, what is your favorite video game weapon or upgrade? Let's make a retro video game, I guess, to be on topic.
Yeah, I think Wind Waker is retro at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's 20-something years old, right?
Yeah. And again, the next Game Club games are Chips Challenge and Rolling Thunder. And thank you all for listening. And I think that wraps this one up.
Have a good one.